My name's Lydia, and in this episode I share my first impressions of Sri Lanka with you. From arriving in Colombo to escaping this crazy city and trying out Sri Lanka's public transport system, I hope you enjoy the journey.
Now, I don't know if it's because I've been in the remote Atlas Mountains, but Colombo feels pretty hectic. There's a lot of traffic, there's buses, there's tuk-tuks everywhere, quite a lot of people, and yeah, it's a bit of a shock. That being said, Colombo used to be Sri Lanka's capital, and there are about 1 million people living here, and it has one of the largest artificial harbours in the world and one of the most important ports in South Asia, so it's unsurprising that it's busy really.
When I arrived at Colombo Airport, I decided to take public transport. I jumped on a local bus which cost 300 rupees and it broke down several times, but after 2 hours I arrived in the city centre. Colombo city centre is an interesting place, far from the tropical beaches you imagine when you think of Sri Lanka. It's a place where many Sri Lankans move to try and better their prospects in the midst of the country's worst ever economic crisis since it gained independence in 1948. European-style buildings are a reminder of the country's colonial past after Sri Lanka was invaded by the Dutch, Portuguese and British. Mosques, Buddhist stupas and Hindu temples can be seen around the city, representing a religiously diverse population. It's also home to Petta Market, one of the largest markets in the country.
I'm in the market now, and as you can see there's loads going on here, loads of things to look at, everything's so brightly coloured, and there's a big mosque in the middle as well, so we've just heard the call to prayer. It's just a very exciting atmosphere to be in, so I'm going to have a wander around and see what we can see.
Petta Market is an outdoor market selling pretty much everything from phone cases to clothes. In total, its streets are around 10 kilometres long and they are full of vibrancy and chaos. Traffic struggles to make its way through the streets, past pedestrians and vendors carting their goods around. Meanwhile, the scent of spices and fresh fruit mingle in the air. A short walk away, however, there's a very different feel to the city.
I'm staying in a hostel near the Dutch hospital, and it seems to be a bit of a dividing line. Down one end of the road there tends to be kind of more rundown, poorer areas with not very good quality pavements and a lot of rundown buildings, whereas on this side there's a lot of skyscrapers and modern buildings, new buildings. It's a kind of more affluent area and a more political area, business area, and it just feels really different to some of the other parts of Colombo.
Heading south from the Dutch hospital, you reach the promenade and Galle Green. This is a popular hangout place for those looking to get some rest from the hustle and bustle of city life, and is the largest green space in Colombo. Every day you can find people flying kites, playing cricket and cooling their feet in the Indian Ocean. Galle Green is also the best place to watch the sunset in Colombo, which is how I spent my final evening before continuing my journey south. The next morning I took a tuk-tuk to Colombo Fort rail station to catch the early train south to Galle. The railway station was built by the British in the early 1900s, and it was strange coming across familiar Victorian architecture at the edge of Southeast Asia.
So it's 6:50 in the morning and we have successfully managed to get on board a train which will take me to Galle. It'll take about 2.5 hours, maybe a bit longer, and we've been really lucky. We've got a window seat, which hopefully means we get to see loads of the beautiful Sri Lankan coastline, which I'm really excited about, and to get a bit more of a look at all of the wildlife and other things. So I think it's going to be a really good trip.
Sri Lanka is known for having some of the most beautiful train journeys in the world. Within minutes of the train departing, we leave the city behind and begin to follow the coast on the west side of the island. We passed through small villages of single-storey buildings and past busy trains filled with commuters on their way to Colombo. I spend the rest of the journey enjoying the views before heading towards my accommodation.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
You just arrived?
I've just got here, I'm very happy.
Nice, huh?
It's very nice.
Nice doesn't do Pitiwella justice. It's nothing short of a serene paradise. My beachfront accommodation led directly onto the sand, and it felt amazing to be next to the sea again. The first thing I did was go for a swim, my first dip in the Indian Ocean. Other than a tiny wave dumping on the shore, it was completely calm and very warm. I spent about 20 minutes floating around and soaking up these new surroundings. It felt great to be somewhere quiet again, and I felt a million miles from Colombo.
So I'm just having a little wander around and I am absolutely chuffed with this place. It's really, really nice. So just had my first swim in the Indian Ocean, which was really, really warm, feeling great. And it is super chill here, which is exactly what I was looking for. No crowds. Everyone wants to say hello and ask what my name is. And everyone's just having a great time running around and fishing and just enjoying the last hour of the day. So it's just a really lovely place to be. And on one side there's the Indian Ocean, and then there's a little lagoon on the other side, and it is just absolutely stunning.
The next day I head back to Galle, which was founded by Portuguese colonists in the 16th century. I make my way to the Dutch Fort World Heritage Site.
I'm just outside of Galle Fort, and today Galle Fort is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its walls extend for over 2 kilometres, and inside those walls there's shops, houses, restaurants. A lot of it geared towards tourists, and it's also right next to Sri Lanka's international cricket stadium. So let's go check it out.
Inside, the fort is quiet and has a lot of colonial style architecture. It's the most gentrified part of the city, with shops and European style restaurants. However, it also has plenty of historical features, like old cannons and Sri Lanka's oldest lighthouse. There's plenty of oceanfront scenery and green spaces to hang out. There are views over the water and Sri Lanka's international cricket ground.
So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my journey south to Galle and me trying to get familiar with the Sri Lankan public transport system. Next I will be heading east along the south coast in search of some quiet surf spots and some more remote beaches, and to see what Sri Lanka has to offer.